I knew that I wanted to play the saxophone from a very young age. My favorite movie back when I was a little boy was Back to the Future. And there's a scene back in 1955 at the school dance. There's a rock band and there's a saxophonist, a tenor saxophonist. And when I saw him on the stage with his saxophone, I said, "Hey, look at that cool trumpet!" And I knew then that was the instrument that I wanted to play and never changed my mind. So 5th grade is when they let you loose on the band instruments. That's when they decide that kids are old enough to play in the concert band. They actually give you a test, if I recall correctly, to see which instrument you would be good for based on certain characteristics. I don't really remember, but I knew that I really wanted to play the saxophone, of course, and they decided that that would be a good instrument for me. And so that's the instrument I went with. My parents bought me a Selmer Bundy II, which is a inexpensive low-end saxophone built for durability and not necessarily for sounding all that great, but it's a good instrument for young students. And I played that all the way through middle school. And in middle school, I played it in the concert band and the jazz band and our version of marching band too, which was really just marching in parades. And I think there were a couple other small events that we participated in. But it was mainly jazz band. That was actually stage band in the 6th grade, and then 7th and 8th grade it was officially the jazz band. And so I played that instrument actually all the way through my first year in high school. So in high school, we had marching band for half of the year and jazz band the other half. We had to be ready to play at 6:45 a.m. every day. And I continued to play my Selmer Bundy II for marching band. It made sense to have something that was durable and it didn't need to sound professional. But the time came where my teacher thought I was getting good enough to play a better horn, and so I convinced my parents to spend a whole lot of money on a Selmer Paris Series 2. So that was a few $1,000s easily, but it was a beautiful horn, sounded great, and I played that all through high school. My high school, we were jazz champions. And so I made my way up to Jazz 1. I played Jazz 3, Jazz 2, Jazz 1. I actually played the baritone saxophone in Jazz 1, but I was involved in jazz band all 4 years. We went to state championships. We won. It was a really good time. We had a lot of trips out to different cities for competitions and things like that. 23 was when I finally started taking college seriously, and before then I made a couple of attempts at it. I never was really sure what I wanted to study. I sort of bounced back and forth between creative writing and music, and I finally settled on music when I went back at 23 and figured I'd also do a backup plan. So I double majored in music and computer science, assuming that if I didn't get rich off a jazz saxophone, then there would be that programming career waiting for me, which is pretty funny in hindsight. I think it's pretty obvious that nobody really makes a living off a jazz saxophone, or at least very few people do. Recording, touring, whatever it is, it's just really hard to make a living. I think most musicians wind up having day jobs, and so it became pretty obvious to me, I think, well before I graduated, that I would be spending my days writing computer programs, which I still do. But in any case, I did take music really seriously, as it was one of my majors, and I spent, a couple hours a day practicing at least. I played in small combos, I played in big bands, I played in a Latin jazz orchestra, and took lots of great classes with excellent professors to improve my jazz improvisation technique and learn more about jazz theory, which taught me a lot about playing jazz piano as well. So college was a really active time for me for music, perhaps the most active time in my life, because since then I've been spending my days doing software engineering. So for several years now, I've played with a rock band. They're a classic rock band. They play a lot of tunes from 60s and 70s, sometimes even earlier. They also play a lot of their own originals. And so it's a lot different for me, having more of a jazz saxophone background, having to fit into more of a rock setting. But it's a lot of fun, and I play with them not every Saturday, but I make it there as often as I can, and I've played with them for a lot of years, I guess probably 8 to 10 years now, I guess it is, which seems like a long time and also seems like not long at all somehow. But I have a lot of fun with those guys. They're really passionate about what they do, and it's a good chance for me to just unwind and spend some time with other musicians, talk about music, and just jam out on some tunes.